What you see is what you get. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, what it means is that what we experience in life, what we experience in the world, has so much to do with our vision of what we see. How 2020 is it? How much are we actually seeing reality? Or how much are we constructing reality with our own mental maps and our own pictures of what we think who we are? The pictures or maps of how we've constructed another person, or the pictures or maps of how we have constructed all others. See, what we see is what we get. And what happens is we start to project that map onto another person, and then we start to relate to whom? Not the person, but the map. And now we got a relationship with a map instead of a person. And boy, can that throw us off. You know the word intimacy? I love one of the definitions of intimacy when we really connect with each other. Think about this definition. Intimacy is into me, see, into me, see. That when we are really connecting, you really see into me, not your picture, not your assumptions about me, not your judgments, your thoughts, your wishes, even your hopes of somebody I might not be, positive or negative. Intimacy is when we really know another person for the good or the bad. But see, we create maps. And what happens is we operate according to that map. We make decisions according to the map. You know, we've had several calls, even this week, people that are in have gone through, two or three really difficult relationships. And they said, I just didn't see it early on, or I didn't know what a safe people versus an unsafe person looked like. And they didn't see it. I mean, nobody ever went to the altar. Think about this. Nobody ever got married walking down the aisle, going to the altar, saying, I just can't wait to be at war with you in the attorney's offices where we hate each other. That's not how it starts out. And a lot of times the way it starts out is because we're relating to a picture in our head, not the real person. Or a lot of times there's a actual good person there, but the picture in our head keeps us from having a relationship with that good person because they're telling us our stories about them and judging them and then reacting to our judgments. How many of you out there have been through a broken relationship? And the person you were in a relationship with accused you of being critical, right? Or judgmental or this or that. You weren't feeling that way at all, but it was their own maps of the world that had them see you that way. And then they responded to you that way. One of the most common ones, one of the most common ones, see this a lot. One of my favorite Bible verses, I know I say that a lot, is it's talking about the generational pattern that God has created in the created order of, we grow up and then what does it say? A man shall leave his mother and father and cleave to his wife. Okay. Leave mother and father and then cleave. So you grow up, you leave from that parental relationship and you cleave to your partner, right? To your equal, right? We're in this together with your spouse, all right? So many times, you know what happens? So many times, this happens with men and women both, but let's just take the guy because I hear about that the most. He's never really straightened out his picture with his own mother. And he might see her as controlling, or he might see her as critical, or whatever it is. But he never leaves that picture and deconstructs that picture to where he can see his wife as who she is. So what happens is, gets into that relationship, and then she says, could you pick your clothes up before you kind of leave the room? Perfectly normal thing to say. But he hears that because he sees her as a mother, a critical mother. See, well, you don't ever appreciate anything I do, or you're always criticizing. You're always ragging on me. You're always not relating to her at all. Relating to a picture of a mother that gets projected onto the wife. And it happens in the other direction as well. So then what does he do? He leaves her emotionally. Why? Because he's wired to leave mother. A lot of times you see in marriage, when people get into parent child dynamics, either she's parenting him or he's parenting her, there will be a leaving because that's what we're designed to do. So, lesson one, don't control your spouse or anybody else you want to have a good relationship with because they're wired by God to become an adult and to leave you. Either detach and spend their time in the garage or the man cave or out with friends or, drunk in front of ESPN or whatever it is, but they're going to unplug or they might go find another person. So that's just a little example of how our view of people organizes our behavior. So, who do you see when you see somebody out there when you're in a relationship? Let me give you one more example. Remember one time a lady um, that I was treating for some anxiety stuff, and she had a lot of anxiety around a relationship with her husband and all of this, and she was describing how controlling and how dominating and abusive and all this kind of stuff he was. And I said, "Well, bring him in. Let's talk to him and see what we can do." She goes, "Oh no, no, you can't. No, he would overpower the whole situation. He would." I go, "Don't worry about it. I can handle it." No, bring him in. No, no, no. He's too. No, this is. And she actually saw him as so powerful. I said, "I'm not worried about it." She says, "Well, what if he gets angry?" I go, "I'm not worried about it." Oh, I said, "Was he going to attack me?" She said, "I don't know. He might." I said, "I'll call the cops." Oh, I don't know if the cops can. And we're gonna have to call the army. Okay. She saw him as so powerful. Yeah, I realize there are dangerous people in the world, but I'm just getting to a point about our views of how we see people. So I talked her into it. She finally comes in. I walk out in the waiting room. There's, the two of them are sitting there. I said, Come on back." Okay, this is the guy. He goes, he extends his hand. "Hi, Dr. Clown. It's so nice to meet you." I mean, he's the mousiest little guy. I was waiting for Godzilla to come in. But her view of him was so scary because she saw she had this transference when we see people transferring other views onto them of people in our past as so powerful that she was afraid to ever speak her mind. She was afraid to say no. She was afraid to be assertive because of the big picture of how she painted him. Well, we had to alter that picture, and then she could step up and see themselves as equals. And she didn't have to justify her feelings or her opinions or this, that, and the other. When we just realized this is just another person, this isn't a parent. So it's very, very important in all areas of life to get our picture of others in line. No matter how powerful they may seem, they're just a person. And if they get out of line, okay, we'll call the cops. But don't build pictures of humanity that limit you. For example, some people think, well, all people are selfish and they're only into it, for themselves. Well, you know what? That's going to order your behavior. How that's going to order your behavior. If you think all people are selfish and they don't care about you, you will never reach out. But if you think, you know what, some people don't care, but some people do, then you'll get curious to find the ones that do because you'll be looking for who's really like what. And I'll close with this example. It's like the guy that moved to a new town. He pulled in a gas station and walked up to the old man working at a gas station. Said, "I'm new in town." And he said, "Yeah." He said, "Yeah, what do people like around here?" The old wise man looked at him and said, "Well, what were they like in the last place you lived?" He said, "They were pretty nice. They're pretty good." He said, "Well, I expect that's how you'll find them here." What a great truth, because he knew it was more in the eyes of the seer than it was in the people of the town. And you hear people with broken relationships will always describe, well, that church, they are so, or that company, well, they don't really care about their, or this. There's always a they, the way they see them is so bad that they had to run away from. And they don't have long term relationships. So let's adjust our vision to where we can intimacy or into you see, where we really get to know people, not on our assumptions, not on our confirmation bias, but who they actually are.